It's not often I start an episode with a non-digital piece, but Nugget Brain here just does it again. There are more. Getting hungry, looking at the Dr. Otkar Ristorante. Anyways, let's take a closer look. Artist Journal, August 25th, 2023. Broadcasting from the Pizza Parlor in Inner Space. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. Welcome back. Welcome back. So it is Friday, and I am incredibly excited about that. I've only been back since Monday, but it does feel like 2 or 3 weeks already, so thrilled about the weekend. You know, it's kind of weird that when you're on vacation, it's like you're surprised at how little you have to do, even though I have certain things I need to do. But then you get back and your schedule just fills up and you thought, how did I go to the beach for like 8 hours a day for 2 weeks? I don't understand how that works, but maybe it's just back to real life. Anyway, welcome back. Here we are. So many of you will recognize this artist, this wonderful, wonderful, brilliant artist who is making it look cruelly easy over here. It's the sort of thing that this is one of those art pieces, and I'll show you the other two in the series. It's a beautiful triptych. Actually, they're separate works, so maybe not technically a triptych, but these are one of those works that you just look at and you go, oh, I could do that. And then it's one of those works you wish you had made, is how I feel about it. Like, it's just, it's brilliant. But, Nugget Brain is making it look easy. And we'll look up Nugget Brain's real name here in a second. But making it look easy here, but really prolific artist, consistent artist, puts out a ton of work. And then, this is what happens. And maybe made these 3 paintings. Here, I'll show you the other 2. Here's the other one. So the other one was, I think, Pizza Scampi. This is Pizza Vegetable. But then all of a sudden, probably put these out in a week, maybe less. These 3 beautiful, beautiful oil paintings in the shape of pizza boxes. Brilliant. It does kind of raise questions for me on a technical front. Remember we saw how mech.txt was not tracing? Remember he was putting the A-Sprite on one side, I believe it was A-Sprite, and on the other, he'd put the image beside, which is a very important thing to observe because, of course, the projector can also be used as a source of painting. And it makes me wonder, this work here, I suspect, actually, this is a projector. You know why? Because this is the giveaway for me, and I may be wrong, but the giveaway for me is how this lettering is kind of basically perfectly ratioed, in the sense that it may not be perfectly done each one, but it basically occupies perfectly the amount of space that you would need. Because if you were to sort of wing this, to get these proportions correct it's not as easy as it looks. Let's just put it that way. Unless, but who's to say, maybe, Nugget Brain is doing which you can do. People know how, the traditional painters, that's how they can paint so realistically, just with the eye, with this whole technique here, which you will learn if you go to a realist art school. I recommend, actually, with some reservations, doing those workshops. Like Paint in the School of the Old Masters, these 2-week workshops. I did them, if you're in Toronto, Academy of Realist Art there. I did them, 2 of them, and it completely demystified. It's very valuable in terms of, because it demystified the old masters, because now I can look at an old master painting and understand how it was built and see really the tricks of the trade. And you realize, okay, these aren't some like otherworldly geniuses that I'll never, because until you kind of understand how the sausage is made, it's kind of difficult to understand how, like, were people just brilliant, much better draftsmen back then? No. They probably had more practice because they had less screen time, but they had techniques, and that is the key. And as they, just finally, not to go on too many tangents here, but art, the word art, the Greek is art. Oh, techne. It is techne. Sorry, I'm blanking here. There's a great, actually, you know how I had to remember that? There is a great Neoplatonic saying, final tangent here, which is kind of in some ways, Neoplatonism, the summits of Neoplatonism, put in one line. Sophia is the arete of techne. Wisdom is the excellence of art. So there, who knows how we got here from Dr. Oetker, but techne is and this is what I was trying to say. Learning the techniques, the rules of art making is to learn the art, the craft. Okay? In the Greek sense, art was basically ways of doing things, rules of doing things. Okay? And that also is an important thing, because sometimes when people don't have that understanding, they come to art and they go, "Oh, I could never be an artist," or I just don't. No, it's like making it's like basket weaving. Okay, like it's no, like, yes, there is a poetic element which you bring to it, but without the poetic element, there's a whole lot of basket weaving involved in art making. Now, speaking of which, let's look here. Pizza Speciale. Just beautiful work here from Nugget Brain. And I believe I had all three here. Yeah, so Pizza Scampi, Pizza Vegetale, maybe this is the Italian, new. So just brilliant, and again, making it look so easy. And, I say to myself, you love a work when you feel like you wish you had made it. And that's really what these works here, they really make me wish I had made it. Kind of, again, kind of projector work, I would argue, and the interpretation of the image in the process. Part of the also interesting thing of working with projectors is it kind of blinds you a little bit, because you have the image projected, and generally you need darkness. And in that darkness, you have the light that's going on the canvas, so you can't see exactly what you're doing. And that is actually an advantage, because then you make a lot less self-conscious marks that you're trying to make poetic. You're just putting stuff out there. So you get the poetry of randomness enters the scene, and that looks much more brilliant most times than whatever you're trying to do. Oftentimes, not always. So here's Luca Bjornsson out of, I believe, Denmark. Nugget Brain here on Instagram. It wasn't easy to bring those images up, by the way. And here, cleaners. So, in the great tradition of Warhol, really, a really, really, really nice work here. Luca Bjornsson, and doing really well. We've been looking at a ton of Luca's work, and so just thrilled to come across. Oh, and let me show you one last thing here. There's something I missed, which was the display. So I think this is with Bricks Gallery and the Enter Art Fair, which is kind of if you're kind of starting out, or you're kind of, you're just kind of breaking through in the arts. They're a good place to start if you're trying to show your work and you're kind of a newer artist, say in Berlin. Then these are good guys. They have, it's not too hard to get your work in there. And yeah, so there's, Luca Bjornsson, Nugget Brain, and I mean, 5,000 followers. Relatively emerging, but brilliant. I mean, if I was like a hardcore speculator, like, how much are these? Right? 42, like, I would love to just buy that series. That's going to be worth a fortune. Continuing on, thank you for the comments on yesterday's show. This was hilarious. Mick Renders, fist pumping on the car ride to work because you opened with Kuhei. He's been one of my favorites under the radar for a while now. So that is really cool. So, of course, Mick Renders was one of the early collectors of that work. And it's great, for me, it's, nobody's buying this work. It's kind of a risk of sorts, so to speak. So it's awesome to hear that people were excited about that. I saw a few different things, but I loved it too. And you just got to go with what you love at the end of the day. Atlas Pop, fabulous show once again. I wanted to comment on Runetunes. On Runetune's comment, who I found out lives mere blocks from me in the same neighborhood in Brooklyn. Great community. On Runetune's thoughts on raw AI. I think of what a poet can do with a few hundred words or less. No one argues that their specific arrangement of words creates something new based on their experience, or that a poet isn't an artist. Using AI to full effect means wrestling with at least the same number of words, if not far more. A one-tool piece of art is simply art, and this was my takeaway here. That art is art, and however it's made, it's just art, so let's not overthink it, was sort of my takeaway on this comment. So thank you, Atlas Pop. And if I didn't get that right, feel free to write a message or another comment. But yeah, I thought, again, just interesting comments on the raw AI. And there's, I believe this is PP Universal. Thanks for the comment. Elliot Smith. This was kind of, yeah, I almost didn't want to read this just because it generally try and keep things positive here. So this is positive. Cheap art is the coolest on object, definitely. The wave of selfless creativity will save the site and the NFT market as a whole from the dominance of people like Sabato who sell Barbie glitches for 150 Tezos. I love Sabato's Barbie glitches. So I don't know. I wouldn't be, yeah, I almost don't even want to highlight. I mean, I just thought that was gratuitous and unnecessary. You don't have to love everything. And I think those Barbie glitches are, you know, we've seen a few Barbie works. And I would argue those are some of the most just capturing the zeitgeist. I mean, they're brilliant and they're beautiful. I don't know what the problem is. And if Sabato wants to sell them for 150 Tezos and someone wants to buy them for 150 Tezos, I don't know. What's the problem? You know? So anyway, continuing on. But thank you for the comment. I do appreciate it. And yeah, sometimes things in writing don't really turn out the way they are planned. Strange thing. Just catching up, I would argue AI in painting refines art by filling gaps or more of the artist's vision, enhance coherence, retain emotion, and reinforcing human-AI collaboration, countering sole AI creator copyright concerns. Let's read that again. Just catching up, I would argue AI in painting, which is the part where you select the little bit in the image to replace it, refines art by filling gaps or more of the artist's vision. Exactly, it gives you more abilities. I totally agree with that. Enhancing coherence, in a sense, fulfilling the vision closer as well, retaining emotion, and reinforcing reinforcing the collaboration between the human and the technology. Countering sole AI creator copyright concerns. Right, because this is also an issue that some people feel that because a lot of these AI images are created using copyright images, well, the more that we're kind of repurposing, remixing, rematching, changing, the further these copyright concerns become, is how I understand that. So just very interesting. Great to hear from Strange Thing. Just a quick correction here on Zora. I think I said it was on Base. It's actually on Optimism, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. So that is interesting, and I haven't been paying too close attention to apps on Optimism, but I'm kind of keep singing this refrain here that I still think digital art is still arguably one of, if not the main use case of these blockchains right now. Because I'm not using any other app, and okay, granted, I'm an artist, I pay attention to art, so of course I'm going to be gravitating towards the art apps. I'm just saying, like, maybe there's some sort of lending platform, some sort of financial platform, but otherwise, I don't, this is the only app that I've had a reason to get concerned with Optimism about. So it's just kind of interesting. It just kind of reinforces that. So Optimism, not Base. And 01, which I think is on Avalanche, and again, I had an Avalanche on my wallet, I could plug in, and it was all just speculation a couple of years ago. The only reason to come back is, there's a digital art platform, 01. Danielle King, Time Again by Yuri J, showing her new collects here. So just really cool what's going on here. So people are excited about it. And here's the homepage. Again, it looks like they took the skin from Versum, doesn't it? And it brought up an interesting thought about the homepage and this idea, I love open platforms, right? But then I was looking at the homepage and you start going, maybe curation has a role to play. And then I came to the conclusion as I was looking at the homepage, open but curated, in the sense that I think that's my favorite combination is an open platform where anybody can do anything, but who doesn't mean you have to give away the homepage. Because you see here, this is the just probably whatever is minted on 01 just goes to the top, and it has its charms, but then you get everything and it kind of waters down that homepage in terms of, because you're going to get all sorts of stuff, and there is a role for curation, clearly. And so to me, that was kind of the lesson here. And perhaps, I mean, Versum, I think, is still there, but it never really took off, as far as I understand, at least not yet. And it kind of, and it made me think, is that because they didn't curate their homepage? Should they have, and as far as I understand, should they have curated their homepage more rather than just doing the straight up feed? The feed is cool, but it does make you wonder. So open but curated is kind of where I am on these things. Retro Manny, up for some old school fun. So I thought this was a great way to consume the 10 comic books that Retro Manny has released here for Retro Man. And here in this virtual bedroom, these posters. And he even got Atmo, who made those incredibly cool cyberpunk works that we looked at maybe 6 months ago. We should return to those at some point. So just kind of a quick little teaser here. And there you see Battle, you see Paper Buddha, and Atmo, and more. So go check that out on Retro Manny's page if you want to see more in that cool arcade game player. Battle in Indonesia. Bali, Indonesia, thanks to SSS Gallery, showcase for superlative secret society and many other artists. So I'd never heard of SSS Gallery and Terminates, Fun Glitch Art Superworld. So I think they have a Superworld in Foundation. And here is Tom Bambattle's work projected. And then you see artworks on the side. Looks like a pretty nice space, actually. So just kind of cool, if you ask me. So that's Bambattle in Bali. Bazaya de la Creme. Ricardus is more than just an NFT. And I thought this was hilarious. So Mikey de la Creme, the work has become a part of my life. So here's Ricardus by Bazaya on Mikey de la Creme's bed is almost a comforter. And I thought to myself, you know, Mikey de la Creme loves NFTs so much that he wraps himself in NFTs before he goes to bed. So that is awesome. And it's great to just see work in the physical world. Spiegels Maskinen, interestingly, Inventory Refill Tomorrow, is working on what looks like a GLB. And what I thought was particularly interesting about this is it's a GLB, but you kind of keep the dithering. And I think we have seen that before, but it's just really nicely done here. And it just looks really cool. This kind of old-fashioned laptop. Just really cool. So also from Spiegels Maskinen, as we dive into the art here, so a collaboration with Sky Goodman and Spiegels Maskinen, and this was a series minted, or a work, Daily Minutia, minted on Foundation, and a few have been minted so far at 0.03 ETH. I think you still can. So here's the work. And so you kind of see the Spiegels TV and chair, one suspects, and then it looks kind of like Sky Goodman's work is flying out of the screen, and you see almost those colors that are reminiscent of Sky Goodman in what comes out of the screen. So a pretty cool collaboration over here, and just nicely done. So those are available for 0.03 ETH on Foundation. Mika Aladev. I don't know if this is an older work or not, but I thought it was pretty cool. Good night. And so here, you know, this is a good practice. I keep on meaning to do this, you know, just an easy way to post your work if you're trying to, finally a little sunshine in here. If you're trying to post your work, you know, kind of a common, what you'll see a lot of people do is GM, and then you just post an old work, and then GN, good morning and good night. And you post your work twice a day, and it's just a way to get your work out here. And then you just, here I come across, oh, I've never seen this work by Mika Aladev before. So just cool. Somfe, also with what looks like kind of video glitch work, kind of reminiscent a little bit of that. I want to call it like Infinite Ballerina by LB, but different. I love these, feedback-esque delay dancers. I think they look beautiful and are just kind of just naturally cool. Somfe with some nice work here on Twitter. Exmortal with a few kind of abstract glitch works, modular Eurorack, so using a lot Roland mixer capture device. So there are a few of them here, so I thought I'd show them. They came out the last few days. So here you see kind of a triangle shape, and here, almost like an obelisk, void window. It's like a little series here. Cool feedback and cool snow feedback here. And here's another one with two triangles kind of overlapping, gravity well. Also, I think it's 3 that kind of seem to be in this series here. Oh, now it's really coming in strong. Continuing on, Slava 3, I believe is how you say Slava's work here. Slava 3 NGL. And this is a work on Foundation, and this was a bid has come through, so it was minted at 0.142, and a bid was placed. Endless Fall with Unpredictable Consequences. So let's just take a closer look here, and we see almost like a 3D rendered skeleton here in a cockpit of sorts with some cool machinery and almost flying through the city here. With a little Christmas tree for to make everything smell good. So interesting there, and interesting contrast between the black and white and the color through the window, and just cool kind of flashing images in the background there. Interesting work. This is on 01. I found this just kind of enigmatic. This is by an artist called Nikita, called One, and just kind of an enigmatic, kind of flashing. It looks like kind of a skull here. Not quite sure what's going on, but I just found it kind of enigmatic. So again, 2 of 13 editions are maybe available. So, and here you see, or maybe 2 have been bought. Here you see Little Cakes here on 01. So again, I believe this is on Avalanche. Dina Chang retweeted this work here, and I thought it was pretty cool. Lucy Benson is the artist. Let me see if I can play it here. Lilac Swarm Interference Aura artwork collection exploring the overlap of generative visual phenomena resulting from signal interference common to both neurobiology, as experienced in migraine, stroke, seizures, etc., and audiovisual computer-based imaging systems. Each piece created individually from a self-programmed generative AV feedback system by mimicking my own visual aura, then colored, layered, and finished by hand. So pretty elaborate process here. And so we're starting with a bit of video kind of glitch work. This one, though, has been taken to a further level in kind of almost looks like an illustrative animation of sorts. But as you see, kind of started with generative AV feedback. So just kind of cool work here. For sale for 12 Tezos. There's Dina Chang and Danielle King and Annika Meyer, all sorts of collectors for Lucy Benson. I'm not sure if I've looked at Lucy Benson's work before, and maybe this one is, so this one really is different, seemingly, but quite a bit of work here. So anyways, another artist to explore. Disarray Hallucinations. This one was really cool by Blood 281, and I thought this was Pixel Glitch, just an interesting series here. So edition of 10, and I just thought kind of looked like pixel art, almost kind of blueprints of sorts, or I want to call them not wireframes, but almost just like the outlines of structures here. Warping, twisting, I feel distorted. Interesting color scheme, I might add. This kind of pastel green and the neon pink with the white. Just a pretty cool kind of mysterious series here. I'm not sure what software was used. Made in GIMP. Now, a lot of people like GIMP, by the way, and I believe GIMP is free. So, still available for 3 Tezos, by the way. Still 7 available. And others are available. Expandor. So, you can still get this series here. So just a cool kind of, I'm a big fan of little series where as a collector, I probably have some Blood 281, but let's say I didn't, or maybe I want to get some just to round out the collection. And I go, oh, I like this series. There's 4 works, 3 Tezos each. I can get everything for basically $9. And then in the museum in my mind, I got a wall, right? So there's something to be said for these kind of small, limited series of sorts. And here's the other one, Hallucinator. That was actually my very first DJ name. I never really went public with it. Hallucinator. Locked inside. So here, just another work here. Another experimental pixel art work using GIMP. Gonna have to try out GIMP at some point. You can probably recognize who this is. Element Lee. The title is interesting. You almost need the title. Cave. 200 pixels by 200 pixels. So just another really interesting experimental pixel artwork. So I guess this is a cave. And interesting, just, great subject matter. And you gotta love how it's like not perfectly square, or at least like perfectly rigid straight line. Like you kind of have this, that's part of the charm of Element Lee's work. This doesn't meet up here in this corner. There's kind of a bit of a roughness to it that is just really cool. So continue to just love what I see here from Element Lee. Brave Pixel on Super Rare. So an interesting work, kind of looks like a sorcerer's room here, or an alchemist's room. You see almost, looks like somewhere like Andre Breton in a role-playing game's office or something. Here you see the masks, and almost maybe there's the light, maybe a bird cage, not sure, some dragon. So all sorts of interesting things. Maybe some potions here, a cat. So a cool work here. Some sort of orb of the world, and more. So just kind of a cool work here, Daydreaming by Brave Pixel. A collector of memories lives in this house, each part of which represents a little of what he is. Believing it to be possible is the beginning, but who knows what the end will be. So very enigmatic from Brave Pixel. Cool work on Super Rare. So this is cool too. In the pixel art section here, Michael Micasso showing works in progress using, I believe, Sprite here. Interesting, you see how he's doing a bit of an underdrawing here? Kind of a rough underdrawing, and then goes on top to kind of fill it in. Almost an old master style. Again, old masters, they'll often put the sepia underneath, like orangish yellow or orangish red, sometimes a gray, but they'll use that as an underpainting. And then you start applying your, and then I think you do it, then like another kind of old master technique is, let's say you have this as a start, then you can either put it in black and white, your image over top, or on top of that layer, or you can use sepias as well and have like a burnt or a raw umber underneath for the dark browns, and then all the way up to your, burnt siennas as these lighter reds, and add white. And so you create this work that is just kind of all sepias. And then basically what that does is if you have skin colors, then it gets much easier to get to where you're going as you paint this work, and the underlayers of the oil painting will show through. I just think it's interesting. There's almost like an analogous, simpler technique here, but an analogous technique at work nonetheless. A warm background, nice little rough outline here, and then you slowly start to kind of conceal or to realize your image closer and closer. So that is also part of the kind of old masters techniques. It's rougher at the start, and then as you add more layers, you kind of zero in on your work here. Anyway, it looks great. Work in progress, takes time. And here is more as you see this develop here. So again, so the water is coming in, and you see how it looks pretty manual, how Michael Micasso goes about these things. So just really nice to see this work in progress here. Chasing Shadows of Old, work in progress. Continuing on, more pixel art. Notorious Man. This is on exchange.art. So now we're on Solana. Look at how many different platforms there are for art these days. Like, it's getting interesting. Will there be a winner take all? Who knows? Probably not, is kind of my thoughts. If there's going to be a winner take all, it's going to be more like if Object went multi-chain, where all of a sudden they could show Solana, Ethereum, Zora. Like that would be, because maybe Object has concerns, right? I would have concerns if I was Object right now. I'm seeing, okay, this Zora thing just kind of came out of nowhere. Artists are getting pulled over to it. I also see this 10.art, and so again, I'm kind of back to, if I was Object, no problem, have at it. We'll incorporate all of you. That's what I think they should do. Just go multi-chain, and we just choose Avalanche, and then we have all our stuff there. One place to collect everything from. So it is Notorious Man XTZ Amethyst Ascent for 0.25 Sol. There are 12 of 15 remaining, and this is on exchange.art. Just a really charming, cool colors, small canvas here, as you can see, nice dithering, and kind of nice simple animation here too. And of course, Manidal, who looks like is working, this looks like DJ software. Scratchmaster VDO, so it kind of looks like there's music here, and maybe the cats are DJing over top, and it looks like it goes for like an hour. So I'm not exactly sure. Yay, mixing with music by P with the 1. See you very soon, Solana. So here's Solana. We've looked at, I think, 4 blockchains here. Right? I mean, you have Tezos, Solana, Avalanche, if I'm not mistaken, and also Optimism, which is on Ethereum. I mean, 4 or 5 blockchains here. And just a cool kind of sketch here. For those that make pixel art, it's, it all looks easier. Once it's done, it looks easy, but this is easier said than done. Some mountain art by Minimal Macbeth on Twitter. So just a cool, kind of interesting canvas size too. And I love these works here by Françoise Gamma. I think they're older works. Landvix 3, big fan of this, and just a cool landscape here, and bringing it to life with some animation. If there's no animation on this work, it wouldn't be quite as alive and quite as just fun and attractive. But just that little bit of life that it, like here, I'd argue the animation is required and is very important to the work. Continuing on, Cappen's Gift Shop. I was trying to figure out what this is. I wonder, is this a vaporizer? I don't know. It looks like something. Maybe someone can tell me. But anyway, you see the magistry of Cappen or Cappen's Gift Shop at work here. And again, I don't know what this is. Kind of interesting, but cool work. Steezy, I think this was sent to McRenders, because I think I saw a tweet on that. So not sure exactly what's going on there, but it's cool work as usual. Great to see Cappen's Gift Shop. Silva Santus with another nice glitch here. Nintendo Glitch ROM. Kind of a noisier one, isn't it? So what I really love about Silva Santus, and look, I really like this kind of just the experimentation of Silva Santus. I really like. Really pushes in different directions and interesting kind of fills here. Interesting work. Glitchboarding. Almost a metaphor for the artistic process itself. Haiti Rocket, Flux Fracture. So another interesting experiment here. Another to go with Haiti's abstract art collection that he is making. And interesting background, probably playing Amiga 1200. I wonder if this is that, what was the name of that software? I want to call it like Balance, but it was some other Rad Magics. I don't know if that's the name of the software. Anyway, more interesting work. Finding some pretty obscure tools though, and playing. I think I recognize that tool though. Most Wrong King. This could hang in the same room. Kind of a cool, another just kind of GIF work I found on Twitter. I didn't see it minted anywhere. Every day, just kind of cool. I thought this one was quite epic. The Santiago work here, this abstract. Find us trying to get to the site and give us this key and it will melt and a feeling of warmth will join us. Nice writing there. This is at auction, I think for 100 Tezos. Pretty cool. This one kind of has quite an epic feel to it, doesn't it? So worth noting here, Sprite, P5JS, Camera Draw, GIMP, Inkscape, so several different softwares involved. And that is available on Tezos. Also Human Kernel at auction for 20. Look Inside Time. And there's something kind of, I really like the simplicity, the rawness of this work, of just this guy with glasses kind of looking over. Really like the background here too. Beautiful, beautiful background. You kind of get a up close and personal look at the, I love like the scale, like how big a lot of these pixels are. And you see it here. It creates a nice effect for these portraits here. One of one from Human Kernel, sometimes believed to be Santiago Renki, with another work, Ozuki. So again, putting out the one work a day, I think, and again, playing with that feedback beautifully, mixing it with some pixels here. Really nice work, 11 Tezos, one available. And Koda Nakazono, with an interesting work here, Continuum number 140, a one of one. Let's just maximize that with some nice big chunky pixels here, some sort of organic form in front, and interesting backgrounds here. And that went for 150 Tezos to Bijou, who likes to buy one of ones. So still a market out there. And this actually goes, Ranexteer, this actually goes quite well with that Koda Nakazono. And here you almost see a face of sort in the metallic sort of abstraction here. And just an interesting kind of surreal, abstract, kind of sculptural work from Ranexteer, edition of 10. There are 10 left, and that is 3 Tezos for only $2.06. Cool title, Mindforge. And Mika Aladev, another work here, Artifact number 26. And this is a one of one, and just more interesting glitch work here. Unusual glitching, 45 Tezos, also went to Bijou. So another thing that collectors will do is when they see Tezos at 68 cents or whatever it was, they will buy a bunch so that they can buy a bunch of cheap art, because maybe 45 Tezos, you think, oh, that's a pretty good price, but really it's probably like 30 bucks. So, you know, collectors will come out of the woodwork when Tezos gets cheap enough, so it's worth continuing to mint. Like, look at how cheap this is. Because don't forget, I mean, this is, say, this Louis Osborne here at 19 Tezos. If Tezos was $1.25, this would be like $24. Now it's 13, right? So you almost have a 50% off, like, an already low Tezos price. So art is being sold very cheap here, in pursuit of happiness. And I thought this was actually a really brilliant work here with this kind of happy face that everybody is chasing over here as they bounce away on the rat race of sorts here and bouncing forward. And it looks like, I wonder if they, and as they bounce backward, they become unhappy. Quite brilliant, I have to say. Quite brilliant by Louis Osborne here. And there is just the perma-happy guy at the front. Hilarious. And this came out when? This came out the 20th of August. So this recently came out 18th of August and sold out at 12 Tezos. Edition of 50. Continuing on, Timothy Julien. I don't think we looked at this one. This one is brand new. Edition of 10 by the Bay. So just another cool kind of work here. Yeah, because the other one looked like a bit of a different style. So this one, again, playing with these kind of architectural, simple works. We know Timothy Julien from months ago with these super cool kind of Liechtenstein-esque interiors, now working on exteriors and playing with the pool and kind of similar ideas. So interesting to watch it develop. Edition of 10, and they're sold out at 50 cents, which is awesome. There's Bodacious Pirate, shout out, and Louis. Caving Wild with another abstract here, and just, this is semi-abstract. And again, the title I think is Moonstone, and they're kind of tempting to think that's the moon. This looks kind of architectural and almost like buildings of sort, but so semi-abstract here. Edition of 12 for $2.50. Interesting minimal color scheme, and these pluses here are pretty cool. Actually, I think it actually adds a lot to the work here. It's a interesting, what I'd be tempted to call an interesting complicator. Caving Wild is the artist. We've looked at them, and of course, not wasting any time here, you probably recognize the artist Cider with a very quick processing of this image, which came out a few hours ago. Let's just look. Donald Trump, mugshots by Cider. Almost in the tradition of Warhol here in those early mugshots. And look, already has a bid. There is a power in doing kind of this real-time news art. And 0.1 ETH to Stephen Vasement, but it is still available for another 19 hours. So how long just 20 minutes after mint, this person wanted this. And just interesting processing here, as usual. Continuing on, Mikey Wilson so instead of a guitar, we have a gun. I'm not sure what kind. I was going to say an Uzi or something, but I have no idea what kind of gun. This ain't a scene. It's an arms race. And so I saw a tweet from Mikey saying he was switching in this piece from the guitar blues player to his favorite character in G.I. Joe, who's called Snake Eyes, where my love for the balaclava, or as I like to call it, the baklava, first began. So there's the balaclava. And there is Snake Eyes in an AI painting, another beautiful painting by Mikey Wilson. Look at this great painting on the back here. And it's going to be interesting, again, with in-painting. Let's say you didn't like this painting in the back. As an artist, you could go, oh, I'm just going to select this, whatever your, prompts are. I'm still trying to figure out some of those painterly prompts, but make it more painterly, make it more like oil paint, make it more, and you'll be able to do that. So in painting, is a big deal, it seems. And there's Strange Thing weighing in on it. So probably a big deal to him too. PP Universal, as we go into the physical work, old might digitize. What do you think? What's her name? What's she have in her plate? So just a old drawing from PP Universal. Pretty cool drawing too, I might add. And I want to show it. So here, because now we saw it was digitized, so to speak. And here it is, and cool window here, and just cool interpretation as you travel across the mediums here. Right? So, una estrategia brillante, as I try and speak Spanish here. Look at how beautiful this is. Could have started with this too. Never heard of this person. Ferrari Shepherd, Massive Roses, 2023. Artsy's feed was posting this. I thought, pretty nice work, isn't it? Pretty original. Here's Ferrari Shepherd, born 1983. Blurring the lines between abstraction and figuration, Ferrari Shepherd creates mid to large scale paintings, delving deeply into the collective consciousness of humanity, LA-based painter, born in Chicago. So here are some of the other works. I have to say, these other works are pretty cool. But that vase of flowers kind of feels like a breakthrough work, doesn't it? And you see these are from like 2021, 2020. Here's 2023. But this vase of flowers, as I like to say, some works just hit. And this one, hit it out of the park. Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, Walk. And I don't know, actually, the reference. Clearly, it's some sort of album with a PG-13 or parental guidance is advised sort of thing. Migos. So I don't know it, but it's really cool and classic, just beautiful abstract, I'd say, by Walk, I think. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. And until next time, take care.